And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of culturally conscious communication here on LIV Radio, LIV TV, here on livinginblack.com. My name is Kedia Whiteow, aka the Conscious Rasta. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 12 noon Eastern time, 5 p.m. TMT, and 8 p.m. East African time. We get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives, entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Wednesday. It is the 19th day of November, 2024 in the Gregorian calendar, the Western calendar, and that corresponds, 2025 I should say, that corresponds to the year 6266 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we realign our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, livinginblack.com. And it is a positive morning. We are off to a brilliant start. It's going to be a good day here on LAB Radio. I feel really, really good about what we are talking about today. And you let me know if you think today's topic is one of the most exciting and important topics that we could, would, should be discussing here on LAB. And I want to click the last one button and then we are off and running. And I have our research up on the table today. Today's topic is entitled, bear with me, I got a lot of research. Africa needs skills. Africa needs skills. Let's all step up. 100% of us, every one of us, all Africans around the world, no matter where you come from, said Peter Tosh. If you are a black man, you are an African. If you are a black woman, you are an African. And Africa needs skills. Today on LIB Radio, the Conscious Rasta Report explores how Africa can harness the diaspora's full potential, much like China and India did, through remittances, innovation, and investment. We'll unveil a strategic plan to deepen ties, to boost entrepreneurship, and drive inclusive growth. From skills transfer to capital flow. Discover how Africa can transform its diaspora into a powerful engine for sustainable development and shared prosperity. Yep, that's true. It's all true. So today we're up, we're live. I do encourage each and every one of you to tune in as well, to share your thoughts, share your words, share all of your understandings about what we have the potential to do on LIB, not on LIB, but potential to do of all of us as Africans around the globe. So let's get this party started. It's going to be a good day here on LIB Radio, LIBTV, livinginblack.com. I have a huge amount of research. I'm going to begin with this video to get you fired up and into the mood. And I have two pieces of video I'm going to share with you. The first one is entitled From Dream to Reality, Building the African Diaspora. And I did put this link up on Rumble and YouTube already. So if you're just tuning in on those pages, I do encourage you to do your best. Let me put this up one more time on Rumble. Here is the piece of video. Let's get this party started.
Step up if you feel like you're capable, if you want to do something, believe in yourself, man. Like I said, we started this with a dream, pushing us to where we need to go. We just following him. So if you feel like you're capable of doing it, come do it. Get connected with the people and get it done. So hey, step up if you.
All right, shalom. And that is one of our Black Hebrew Israelite groups that are based in Ghana. This group based in Ghana, and they have been there for decades. And I will be honest with you, they are doing amazing things. When we were there in Ghana and we were looking for some wonderful food to eat, organic, vegan food, we went to see the Hebrew Israelites, and they put on a wonderful, wonderful presentation for us all. I have a second piece of video. I'm going to go right into that second piece of video right now. This one is Obadale Cambone, and it's a little bit longer, about almost 4 or 5 minutes long. I'm going to play the entirety of that video. Let me put this one down and put this one up, share screen with audio. And Obadale Cambone is asked a question of whether or not we as Africans should take the DNA tests to determine our ancestry. His response is perfect. Watch this. Let me put this up here. Make sure it's on the screen. And it is up on the screen. And Obadale Cambone, our beautiful African lion prince on the continent.
How can people like pinpoint what region their ancestors are from?
Right. So as I started off with, some people do it with DNA. For me, I don't necessarily advocate that. I'm not against
Explain.
it. I'm not against it, but I don't advocate that because the fragments that we were in prior to the coming of our enemies are very much connected to the reason why we ended up in the predicament in which we find ourselves right now. So what we found out, this is the reason why, Jacob Carruthers, Imahu Jedi Shamsu Jehuti, a lot of his work was focused on classical Kemet and IT, because in both of those places, that's where you found Black people came together on the basis of being Black, and we fought collectively against our non-Black enemies. You understand? So in IT, you have people who are to Aitakon, and of course we're on the Yoruba, we're fighting amongst each other. Iki doesn't like Oyo doesn't like Ondo, and so forth. So even inside of the same people, look at people who are now lumped under the group Akan. We'll find out if Achim get along with Asante, and then find out if Ekriapim gets along with Akwemu, and then find out if Ante gets along with Asante. Find out if these are all supposed to be one group, and they speak a mutually intelligible language. What happens and what can happen, let me put it like this, is that when you run back to a fragment, you get yourself back into the exact same position that led to us being overrun in the first place. So what I would like for us to do is focus less on the fragments that we were taken from and focus on the times that we had victories, like in IT, because again, in IT, all those fragments were there. But when you read now Jean-Jacques Dessalines' Constitution, he says that all of us are les noirs, les nègres, we're all the blacks. You understand? And that's the basis on which we were able to defeat the French. We were able to defeat the British, and we were able to defeat the Spanish, is because imagine if it was like, well, only the phone, this is the phone corner, so only the phone-based speakers are going to fight against the British. It's going to get us the exact same, condition. So that's the reason why. And I find that even when people go to spiritual systems, like, okay, well, I'm Yoruba, and the Yoruba are having a territorial turf war against the Akans, like whatever people are doing with their stuff is like what I would prefer us to emphasize is our collective identity, and trying to pinpoint the tiny fragment that you came from would lend itself more so towards what I'll use the term quote unquote tribalism than it would towards what happened when we said we're all black people. All of our enemies are the non-black people. Let's fight against them collectively. Look at Nana Paul Bogle. He said, cleave to the black. Now, a lot of the people who are in Jamaica may identify as, let's say, Fanti or something. He didn't say cleave to the Fanti, right? He didn't say cleave to the Ekriapim. He didn't say cleave to the Asani. He said cleave to the black. This means all of the different kind of people, whether they came from what's now known as La Côte d'Ivoire, whether they came from what's now Ghana, whether they came from what's now Togo, whether they came from what's now Benin, whether they came from what's now Nigeria, wherever they came from, that he's saying all black people are going to fight against our collective enemies. And that's very profound because we weren't enslaved on the basis of, okay, oh, well, you're this. Okay, well, we're only going to take those people. No. And then also when it came down to the Berlin Conference, whatever you thought you were, according to all of our collective enemies, they said, all of y'all are one thing to us, and that's cannon fodder. What you think you're Fanti? And I find that even to this day, those who are from the continent, whether it's Nana Kwame Nkrumah or Nana Amilcar Cabral or Nnamdi Ezekwe, whoever, they start to think differently when they go over and they realize that you're not getting, as Baba Omowale Malcolm X said, he says you're not getting hit upside the head because you're a Mason or an elk or you're a this or you're a that. They're not shooting Amadou Diallo. They didn't ask for his passport. They're saying all of you are our collective enemies, and we're coming together on the basis of that in order to kill all of y'all.
And I'm going to cut the video at that point, as we don't have to sit through the commercial. There is a couple of more minutes more to it, but Obenfo Obadele Cambone, that's pure genius. I know him wonderfully well. I wish I could be there in Ghana, and I hope to be there in Ghana very soon. So when I get there, I will undoubtedly be seeking out his assistance, his services for making it a longevity campaign. It's closer than I can tell you right now. It's closer than I can tell you. Hopefully, we'll have some good news to share. I was hoping to have a conversation with one of my friends on the continent today who called me very excited last night as I was doing my exercises, getting ready for the nocturnal. And he called me. He was very excited. And the phone went weird on us, really, really weird. And we could not get a call back and forth. I tried WhatsApp 5 times and that. I got up this morning. I was able to reach him via WhatsApp on the continent. But he was heading into a Zoom meeting and had to hurry off the phone. He and I will be talking a little bit later, but it's closer than we could ever imagine. Let me take a moment here and greet my beloved sister is in the house for Africa One, Hatep, Brother Kiti, and global LIB family. I ask each and every one of you who are listening to LIB Radio, check in. Give us a like. Hit the like button, but check in. Your voice, your contribution, your name, saying your name is magic to my tongue. And you know that for Africa One. Your name, saying your name is magic to my tongue. So we ask that everybody do the best you can to do the best you can, and let's all pull together. Harambe. Let's all pull together. So I'm going to go into much more details. Now, we talked about at the intro to today's program how the Chinese diaspora did it. We talked about at the beginning of the program how the Indian diaspora did it. They all pulled together around the world. Africa has much more land than does India, than does China. And once we get beyond these artificial Berlin conference, which was actually called the Congo Conference, once we get beyond these divisions that were set up by the Europeans to divide and conquer and rule us, once we can move forward to the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, fully implement that, and everyone participate in it, our momentum becomes unstoppable. We're going to do this. Let's do this. Here's how the Chinese did it. I asked the AI, describe how global Chinese contributed to China's rapid rise and development since 1982. I was very careful, very crafty in crafting these inquiries to use for today's conversation. The rapid rise and development of China since 1982 have been significantly influenced by global Chinese communities, particularly through their roles in capital investment, technology transfer, and facilitating international trade. Following Deng Xiaoping's reforms, China established special economic zones, SEZs, in Shenzhen, Zhuhai, Shantou, and Xiamen in 1980, which became hubs for foreign investment and economic experimentation. These zones attracted capital and expertise from overseas Chinese, especially from Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, which were crucial in connecting China to the global economy. Hong Kong served as a vital conduit for foreign currency, technology imports, and skilled labor, while Taiwan played a key role in transferring advanced technology, particularly in the semiconductor industry, and investing in coastal provinces like Guangdong and Fujian. The entrepreneurial spirit of the Chinese diaspora, combined with the household production responsibility system introduced in 1982, household production responsibility system introduced in 1982, allowed rural farmers to lease land and sell surplus produce in private markets, laying the foundation for marketization and economic dynamism. The global Chinese also contributed to China's integration into the world trading system. By the 1990s and 2000s, foreign direct investment, FDI, from multinational corporations and overseas Chinese investors fueled China's manufacturing boom, particularly in labor-intensive industries. This influx of capital, coupled with low labor costs and high profitability, enabled China to become the world's sweatshop, quote unquote, the world's sweatshop, and a major exporter of goods, including electronics and clothing. The success of this model was further supported by the 1979 Law on Joint Venture, using Chinese and foreign investment, which facilitated foreign technology and capital inflows, and boosted exports. By 2015, China had transitioned from a net recipient to a net investor in foreign direct investment, with outward investments reaching $56 billion in 2010, signaling its growing economic maturity and global reach. These contributions from global Chinese communities were instrumental in transforming China into the world's second largest economy and a major player in global trade and technology. And when it comes to this idea of the world's second largest economy, that's being measured in dollars. But the thing is that a dollar inside of America doesn't buy nearly as much as it buys inside of China. So there's a thing that comes in called purchasing power parity. Rents in the United States, housing prices, labor costs in America are all sky high, especially compared to the rest of the world, and China, especially to across the African continent and the Indian subcontinent, sky high. So in purchasing power parity, China is the #1 economy in the world. And you must be fully aware of what is doing that. A dollar buys more in China than it buys in America. Not always. The currencies are shifting now. The Chinese yuan is going up in global value, and the dollar is going down. Let's talk about the Indian transformation. Similarly, the Indian community, non-resident Indians in our eyes, persons of Indian origin, PIOs, and the wider India diaspora, has been a major engine of India's economic, technological, social, and diplomatic transformation over the past few decades. This has been because of the following, and there's been more to it, but these are the things that I highlighted. Remittances, steady personal remittances from the diaspora have provided a large, stable source of foreign exchange and household income that supports consumption, savings, and local investment. And secondly, venture and portfolio capital. Diaspora investors, diaspora investors and angel networks, diaspora investors and angel networks have seeded and scaled Indian startups, especially in technology, fintech, and health tech, accelerating an innovative ecosystem that fuels growth. Next, in the category of tech and R&D research, or technology transfer and entrepreneurship, I should say. Point 1, tech and R&D research. Indian professionals and academics in Silicon Valley, research institutions, and global firms transferred skills, launched startups, and created cross-sector border R&D, cross-border R&D links that help build India's IT services and product sectors. That's very important. Point. Returnees and the reverse of the brain drain. Entrepreneurs and senior managers returning to India brought global best practices, management, talent, and networks that boosted corporate capabilities and commercialized advanced technologies. Now, this plan is detailed. It is right. I see you in the house, account manager. Welcome to the program today. He is in the house. He says, he's fired up. Account manager says, you are so right. African Americans here who have been living in Africa, Ghana, and Tanzania, I am here for the last 4 years. Here in Ghana, those sending money to Ghana sent in $3.4 billion in remittances in the last year. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm with you. I will be living in Eastern Africa, but also am going to be building the first of our villages in West Africa. So we'll be broadcasting from the African continent maybe sooner than one might imagine. Going back to India, trade market access, and business networks. Trade, market access, and business networks. Here's what the diaspora contributed. Trade channels and supply chains. Diaspora investors and business communities acted as bridges for exports, foreign direct investment, and joint ventures. Opening markets and building supply chain links between Indian firms and global buyers. Corporate partnerships. Senior diaspora executives facilitated multinational partnerships, technology transfers, and manufacturing investment into India, strengthening industrial capacity. And you know, everything I'm talking about today, while it does apply to India and to China, we can and will and must find a way to make sure this all applies to us as well. We can do whatever we will to do. The thing is this conversation that I am having today needs to be amplified. Needs to be amplified. This account manager has just joined the conversation, writes, I have your back. I have experience on both sides of the continent. And you and I will need to talk. We'll connect via, let's connect via WhatsApp or WhatsApp. Let me spell this right. WhatsApp, or you can text me at 702-580-0662. And I'm going to just put in, bear with me, plus 1-702-580-0662 is my WhatsApp connection. And let's get this party started. I am so excited today. We got a lot more research. I haven't laid out the plan for Africa yet. It's going to get deep. But we're talking about how India and China did it. Philanthropy, development impact, and SDGs. The millennial development goals, sustainable development goals. Philanthropy and social programs. Diaspora funded foundations and NGO partnerships support education, health, and disaster relief, plugging gaps in public provision and advancing development outcomes. Support for SDG delivery. Targeted diaspora funding and expertise can accelerate progress on health, education, and clean energy, helping India work toward its development goals. Again, SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. We have talked about these many times here on LIB Radio, especially since 2015 when we introduced this dialogue to most of our audience around the world of Africa Rising. And since 2015, Africa Rising has been entrenched. If you look at the promo for today, I put up the cover of my book, Africa Rising. The sun is dawning. Dawn is breaking over Africa. That was the subtitle, Africa Rising. I don't have it in my hand, but I have it right here on the bookshelf. So the Sustainable Development Goals, the Millennial Development Goals, these became very important. The MDGs, Millennial Development Goals, lifted China up over the course of the end of the 20th century. Now we have moved to the Sustainable Development Goals, which are in operation between 2015 and 2030. So our focus on achieving SDG goals becomes very critical, very, very important. However, I suspect, and I could be wrong, I would love to be wrong on this, that if I polled the next 100 African Americans I encountered, what do the initials SDG even stand for? Yeah, I would say, well, it does stand for Sustainable Development Goals. And what could that mean for Africa's future development? They would probably look at me with those glassy eyes and say, I would rather talk about Kanye West and Kim Kardashian. That's terribly tragic, but we can do better than that. Aggregate effect and the future role of India, the Indian diaspora. Number one, it will be a multiplier on national strategy. The diaspora amplifies India's growth through finance, talent, trade, diplomacy, and social investment, making it a strategic partner for India's ambitions toward developed country status by 2047. Point two, policy leverage. Continued engagement via targeted policies, investment, facilitation, diaspora bonds, talent return programs can further convert the diaspora's global reach into sustained domestic development. So a quick takeaway from what I just shared. The global India community, as well as the global Chinese community, has acted as capital providers, knowledge conduits, business connectors, cultural ambassadors, and philanthropic partners. A multifaceted force that materially accelerated India and China's recent rise and will remain central to its future development. And this is all so exciting, if you ask me. A couple of things I want to just put in here. Okay, let's keep going. We've got a lot more. Our account manager is talking to us today, and I love hearing you get excited. Shabaka has joined us as well. Greetings to you, Brother Shabaka. He says, greetings, LIB family. Account manager, we do not need any more black people looking to build wells. We need more people coming to get together who are willing to build supply chains. We need customer service managers, marketing managers, and sales. I have your info. Let's connect and build together. Please share your donation link, and I will share that right now for those who wish to contribute. For those who wish, let me spell it right, to contribute, my Cash app is $KEIDIOBI, and otherwise we can connect for Zelle or PayPal. With your PayPal, you can go to the front page of http://libradio.com. At the bottom are not bottom. At the bottom are other ways to contribute. Okay, thank you so much. I do appreciate, love that. And I did put up the Cash App link is scrolling through your LIB radio, your screen underneath the broadcast today. And we encourage everybody to do what you can do. We are so close. We're so close. And I'm excited. I am really wonderfully excited. I got a whole bunch of research. Now we're going to get into, let's talk about us, our future. Oh, I had one more section, and I'm just going to briefly go over this. I was being thorough. I put in 2 sections on India. I also did an AI search using Brave AI. Introduction, the role of the Indian diaspora. I'm just going to quickly go over this intro and then just the points, and then I'll skip to Africa. Introduction, the role of the Indian diaspora. The Indian diaspora, estimated at over 35 million people and at most 50 million. And when we talk about the African diaspora, according to the best calculations I've been able to make, that puts us, including South America, Central America, Australia, Pacifica, puts us, and Europe, puts us at about 221 million. So we are much greater in number than the Indian diaspora. The Indian diaspora, estimated at over 35 million people, has played a pivotal role in India's rapid economic and social development over recent decades. And there's many more African Americans than there are the entire Indian global diaspora. Spanning North America, the Gulf countries, Europe, Southeast Asia, and Africa, global Indians have acted as bridges between India and the world, contributing through financial capital, technology expertise, cultural exchange, and strategic influence. Their contributions have been especially significant since India's economic liberalization in 1991. So we talked about the liberalization in China, 1980, Deng Xiaoping's regime. The Indian economic liberalization in 1991. That's 11 years later. So the question is what about Africa's transformation? What about all Africans around the world now truly believing that they are Africans? Oh, I ain't no African. I ain't leave nothing behind Africa. Oh, shut up. Shh, don't talk. There are a whole bunch of prominent Africans who've made that statement. Shh, I'm not going to curse you. I'm not going to curse your name. Just shh, be quiet. Let other voices speak. Economic contributions, remittances, and investment. We talked about that earlier. Knowledge and skills transfer. Global business and entrepreneurship. And in these last 20, 30 years and more, since 1991, since 1980, obviously the world is now being driven by this technology transfer. And that's not a bad thing. If we Africans had more say in the direction it would be going, number one, many of those patents related to the technology development would come home to African people to build Africa. African Americans have a lot of patents, hundreds and hundreds of very important patents. And we're proud of those. But should we be maybe a little less proud, a little less pride when we understand of all of those magnificent African American patents, that we do not have one industry that dominates where those patents are? Not one industry. Unless you want to say hip hop. Well, okay, I'm going to give you credit. Hip hop's a dynamic. It is an economic dynamic in the world. But do we really dominate hip hop, or are we players on someone's chessboard? India developed global business and entrepreneurship, cultural influence, and soft power. This is very important. I'm going to read this paragraph. The Indian diaspora has amplified India's cultural soft power globally. Bollywood, yoga, cuisine, and festivals like Diwali are now celebrated worldwide, enhancing India's global image. This cultural presence has boosted tourism, brand India, and even influenced foreign policy. In urban India, the return of diaspora members has introduced global lifestyles, consumer trends, and entrepreneurial mindsets, contributing to a more cosmopolitan and dynamic society. That's very important, this cultural influence. And when it comes to the wealth of Africa, we have to acknowledge maybe amongst the greatest wealth that we have always had since the beginning of civilization is culture. African art, dance, pageantry, all aspects of culture, including fashion, dominates. The beauty of the Sudanese woman who we used to look at and say, oh, that black skin, you are ugly, is now transformed in the world's eyes until the African American caught up with it. Hello. Why did we have to wait on French fashion designers to tell us the Sudanese women and the Somali women were the most beautiful women in the world, the Ethiopian women, the Kenyan women, the women of our continent, the women from Rwanda, from Ghana. The most beautiful women in the world have always been Africans. But we were blinded by Tarzan and blinded by curses. The worst thing in the world you could call someone when I was growing up, without cursing, without actually cussing, oh, you black African, you. Someone call me that today, I'm going to be so proud. I'm going to hold up my head high and say, thank you. I am a black African. Ashe. Ashe. Diplomatic, strategic influence, very important. They have top diplomats now in countries around the world that are from India, including, well, they're kind of embarrassing. They're part of the Trump presidency, but they are from India. He acknowledges them. Challenges and future prospects. Despite their contributions, challenges remain. Brain drain, unequal regional benefits, and the need for better engagements mechanisms persist. However, with India's demographic dividend, and Africa has a greater demographic dividend than does India, and growing innovation ecosystem, the diaspora is expected to play an even greater role in the country's journey towards a $7 trillion economy by 2030. Initiatives like Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, PMJDY, and digital infrastructure Aadhaar UPI have made it easier for the diaspora to connect and contribute financially and technology. Now we come to the topic of Africa Rising. Dawn is breaking over Africa. And that is, of course, the name of my recent book. I have 16 books that deal very specifically with developing Africa. 16 books. This one, Africa Rising, I personally think is about the easiest to access and read. And it's one of the lesser price books that I put out. The African Diaspora, including African Americans, Afro-Brits, Afro-Canadians, Africans across the Caribbean, CARICOM Africans, Africans from South America, Brazil, Colombia, and across the continent, holds significant potential to contribute to the transformation of the African continent into a modern, wealthy, sovereign, independent, healthy, and unified entity. Drawing from current initiatives, policy frameworks, and economic opportunities, the following 25 detailed steps outline actionable pathways for diaspora development. 25 detailed steps. Pick at least 1, 2, or 3 and make your commitment. That's how we can do it. But everybody's going to have to do it. Now, I know everybody's not going to try. So that's why I say pick 2 or 3 so you can cover up for them lame cousins of yours or lame brothers and sisters who do not want to risk a penny of their diaspora acquired spoils to help our continent. Number one, leverage the African Continental Free Trade Area. Actively participate in and promote the AFCFTA by investing in cross-border trade, supporting the development of logistics and supply chains, and advocating for visa-free travel and frictionless movement of goods and people to unlock the single market's full potential. That's awesome. Advocate for visa-free travel. Please. It's easier for you and I to travel to Europe or other countries around the world. They make it easy for us to make it visa-free travel. But in Africa, living in Kenya, is it easy for them to travel to Ghana, South Africa? No. We've heard that many times. Advocate for visa-free travel. Point 2, direct diaspora remittances into professional funds. Channel a significant portion of the over $100 billion in annual remittances to Africa into professionally managed diaspora investment funds focused on critical sectors like energy, water, healthcare, and agribusiness, thereby moving capital from consumption to productive investment. Earlier, account manager says we do not need any more people looking to build wells. But I think he would agree with that last statement. If we channel those donation funds into building wells, into diaspora managed investment funds, focus on critical sectors like energy, water, which also includes waste management, healthcare, and agribusiness. I think that you would definitely agree that's where it needs to be going. Build up not the donation, but the capacity to be independent. Point 3, establish and manage diaspora venture funds. Create and lead venture capital funds that invest in African startups, particularly in fintech, which stands for financial technology, ag tech, health tech, and media, using cutting-edge technologies like artificial intelligence to drive innovation and job creation. Now, ag tech and health tech and media, those are all areas where I am in it, and I'm in it to win it. You hear me on LAB Radio. If you tune in on a daily basis, you know we talk about those all the time. Agricultural and ag tech and agroeconomics. I remind you of the quote from the head of the African Development Bank, Adesina Akinwumi, or Akinwumi Adesina is his name. He said, the next generation of billionaires and millionaires in Africa will be farmers. And that was a very important point I made in the book, which came out in 2020, called The Blackest Soil. Africa can feed the world. That means we've got to invest. It's not just going to happen. Africa can feed with its tapping Africa's unused agricultural lands, arable lands, which Africa has the most untapped arable lands in the world. Tapping that, Africa can feed at 2,000 calories per day of mostly organic food. Africa has the potential to feed 12.9 billion people. And there's only 8.2 approaching 8.2 billion people on the planet now. Africa can feed everyone on earth, but it's not going to happen by accident. Point 4, investment in African infrastructure. Target investments in essential infrastructure across 12 service sectors, including health, water, transport, and agri-food systems, to address the continent's massive infrastructure development and stimulate economic growth. 12 service sectors. Very important. And I'm going to highlight that and come back and put that into my report. I'm going to thicken this report up a little bit, and because I'm going to be presenting this same report as a portfolio soon. Number 5, support African research and development, R&D. Use expertise and capital to build innovative R&D capabilities in Africa, focusing on developing new crop varieties for food security, advancing cold storage and warehousing, and creating indigenous solutions in medicine and health. And that is another area of my personal expertise and commitment. Number 6, promote impact and social investing. Engage as impact and social investors, recognizing the potential of this market to create livelihoods and tackle underfunded challenges, and work with institutions to change perceptions of risk in emerging markets. And behind the scenes, you don't know it, but the big investors in the planet, they know what I'm talking about here today. They've been doing their research. They have access to the same research techniques that I use, but they don't have a commitment to engage you in participating and benefiting from what they do on the down low. Point number 7, facilitate knowledge transfer and technical assistance. Return to the continent to provide remote technical assistance in fields like engineering, finance, law, and technology. Sharing international expertise to build local capacity and to solve complex problems. Let's not wait until the World Health Organization, the lying organization that it is, and the UN, let's not wait until they tell us there's another pandemic happening in the world and happening on our African continent. We need to have our frontline soldiers there, taking the pulse of the nation and telling us, reporting to us honestly about what is happening on the continent and what we are doing there to solve these persistent problems. I was very proud to report that the solution to Ebola came from African continent. Long before the Europeans started talking about blood plasma, platelet-rich blood plasma, and all of that. It was coming from the continent. But still to this day, most of our people are completely unaware that we solved the Ebola situation in the 1990s. We did. And now they put that word Ebola out. It's like the only word many African Americans will know. That's disgusting. It's disgusting. We can do better than that. Number 8, advocate for favorable policy and legal frameworks. Work with African governments to establish clear, predictable legal frameworks, ensure the ability to repatriate funds, and create incentives that boost investor confidence and reduce bureaucratic friction. And that's very important. Good governance must come along with these favorable policy and legal frameworks so we can make this money not only easier to facilitate investing in Africa, but making sure far, far less of it gets skimmed off the top by corruption. Number 9, support the Year of Reparations, quote unquote, Year of Reparations initiative. Engage with the African Union's 2025 Year of Reparations to advance justice for Africans and people of African descent, using this platform to foster dialogue and action on historical injustices and their economic implications. How many of us even knew that this was the 2025 Year of Reparations? I try to stay as well informed as anybody out here, and I don't think I knew about it. The African Union has declared 2025 of the year as, quote, the year of justice for Africans and people of African descent through reparations, close quote. This theme aims to address historical injustices and promote reparations for Africans and people of African descent. The official launch of this theme will occur during the 38th AU Summit in February 2025. Additionally, discussions and initiatives related to reparations will be emphasized throughout the year. I didn't even know about it. I did not even, was unaware of it. Let me just type this into the paragraph. And now we know, now we're going to have to do our best as a media source, media outlet. I'm going to have to do a better job of raising this issue of reparations to my audience. Number 10, reconnect with cultural heritage. Participate and support initiatives like Ghana's Year of Return, Gambia's Roots Festival, and Guinea-Bissau's citizenship grants to strengthen cultural ties, foster a sense of identity, and encourage long-term investment and return. We didn't even know, which is why today's conversation is so important. So important. Let me double check to see if any of our listeners are joining us. Nobody got anything else to say? Well, I hope you all at least will hit the like button. This is such an important conversation. Can I convince you to share it with your listening audience? I hope so. I hope that we can do this. We can, yes, we can do this. And we can do it sooner than later. I highly recommend that we commit to it and do it. Let's just do the dang thing. And that's a beautiful thing. So let's continue. We're on a roll. On this extended list, we are up to number 11. Utilize the right of abode and citizenship programs. Take advantage of existing programs, such as Ghana's, quote, Right of Abode Act, which grants unrestricted rights to travel and work, and advocate for similar policies in other nations to facilitate easier movement and investment. And we should. There's no doubt. This is a wonderful list. Number 12, build strategic partnerships with African governments. Collaborate with African governments on industrialization, capacity building, and trade partnerships. Moving beyond traditional aid models to focus on mutually beneficial economic development. Africa needs trade, not aid. We've heard that so many times. Danessa Mombasa, what was her name? Danessa Mboya said this in her book. And while I initially resisted because I thought she had other allegiances, I had to finally admit she was absolutely right. Maybe she was just so far ahead of the rest of us, was why my initial response was what it was. But then I kept hearing it till I finally started saying it. Africa needs trade, not aid. I completely agree with that now. Yoweri Museveni said the same thing. Paul Kagame said the same thing. And now we have this brilliant young leader from Burkina Faso Ibrahim Traore, saying Africa needs trade, not aid. Praise be his eternal name. Going forward, 13, develop and distribute investment products. Work with financial advisors to create accessible investment products and research that makes African markets intelligible to mainstream diaspora savers, enabling them to allocate capital with confidence. Very important. Number 14, foster entrepreneurship and job creation, especially with Africa's youngest population in the world. We are going to have to concentrate on creating jobs forever. But really, especially since so many of these young people are now in their teens and approaching young adulthood, and the informal job structure of African continent is catastrophic. It's not good at all. It doesn't add taxes and the way it should, and it doesn't build up our job sectors the way it should. We're going to have to concentrate on creating jobs for these young people. Launch and scale businesses in Africa, creating meaningful jobs for young adults, and contributing to gross domestic product growth and social stability. Because if the young people don't have jobs, well, let me give them $100 a month and an AK-47 and tell them go out and create your own wealth. But you got to fight under this uniform, this flag. It doesn't work. We can do better than that if we have a plan. Point number 15, promote Pan-Africanism and unity. Actively support the African Union's vision of an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa by advocating for continental unity, solidarity, and a reduction of external interference. And when we now see Trump, I don't cuss, but he's a mess. Trump is a mess. We see him threatening Nigeria, and African Americans have no response. Very little response. We see him threatening South Africa. It's a fraud. We know it is a fraud. But nonetheless, they still persist. When we see Donald Trump over there promoting an end to the Civil War or into fighting between hostilities between Rwanda, M3, and DRC, seemingly over short term, it seemed to produce peace, but that peace did not last. It didn't last because it had no substance to it. The young men in those war zones, they need to be distracted from fighting with real jobs that support them, starting families and raising those families with dignity and prosperity. That's the only thing that's going to put an end to Africa's constancy of internal conflict. And I tell you, we also must be aware that the level of conflict in Africa is just a small percentage of what it was years ago. Used to be there were 20 simultaneous acts of, not acts, but conflict zones just inside the DRC. Well, that's not happening now. And we have to understand how most of those conflicts were resolved. We can do better than what we have been doing, but we've got to be informed and we got to be engaged. I'm really kind of insisting we're going to have to be informed, we're going to have to be engaged. Number 16, strengthen the African Union's 6th region. Engage with the AU's 6th region, that's us, which seeks to strengthen ties with people of African descent outside the continent to ensure the diaspora's voices are integrated into continental decision making. Very important, so important. Point 17, support peace and security efforts. Contribute expertise and financial resources to sustain peace, particularly in conflict-affected regions, by promoting democratic values and supporting peacekeeping initiatives. Now, these Western liberal ideas of democracy on Africa, they don't work. No, 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 no. They don't work. So we have to make sure that African socialism, with respect to the elders and the elders' input, we're going to put that in as the governance system. Africa had good governance this before the colonial period. Point number 18. Invest in digital infrastructure and literacy. Help bridge the digital divide by investing in internet access and digital literacy programs, which are critical for economic participation and innovation. And also, as investing in internet access and digital literacy, we got to make sure that Africa has an electric grid, a sustainable electric grid that does not pollute the planet. Point 19. Promote African cultural expression. Support African literature, art, music, and cultural expressions as major contributors to the continent's growth and transformation, fostering a great sense of pride and identity. Pride and identity. Let's erase this statement from our people's mouths, from their minds, from their hearts. I ain't no African. That's a despicable statement and reflects complete and total ignorance about Africa's contribution to human civilization and its future contributions. Number 20, engage in climate resilient development. Invest in and promote environmentally sustainable projects that manage biodiversity, forests, land, and waters, and use adaptive measures to address climate change risks, and also support the initiatives that are coming out of Brazil this week. They're having another climate conference in Brazil. I've heard not one dialogue amongst my people, our people, here in the United States, not one African-led dialogue. I hear them talk about it on Democracy Now! I hear them talk about it on the liberal networks. NPR even mentions it. But where is the passionate conference, the passionate conversation and conferences amongst we, the African diaspora? Point 21. Drive innovation in agriculture. Support the radical transformation of African agriculture to enable the continent to feed itself and become a major net food exporter, leveraging technology and innovation. A net food exporter, not a net food importer, but a net food exporter. With as much as, according to my book, predictions for 2050 suggest that Africa could be exporting $4.1 to $4.3 trillion in mostly organic food to the world by 2050. That's quite a bit of money. We should be engaging in it. Number 22, develop the blue ocean economy. Exploit the vast potential of Africa's blue ocean economy to accelerate economic growth and create new industries. And this is one we need to talk about because of Africa's EEZ, exclusive economic zone. I'm asking this of a search engine right now, of a AI search. Speaking of Africa's giant EEZ, which stands for exclusive economic zone. What is the future potential of this economy by the year 2050. Now that's going out a ways, but 2050, that's only 25 years away. Let's look at the development of China and the development of not of China and India. And I'm asking, speaking of Africa's giant EEZ, exclusive economic zone, that's in parentheses. I'm asking zone, not zone. I'm asking what could be its potential by the year 2030. And hit the start button, and it is doing a deep search. I'm using Copilot, Microsoft search engine, but it's not my favorite. My favorite now is actually Perplexity. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this up on Microsoft's Copilot, and I'm going to put it up on Perplexity, P-E-R, perplexity.ai. It's my favorite because it's very powerful. In fact, they're about to go public. So if you are an investor and you're looking for something good, I would put money on this Perplexity launch. So let me first give you what Microsoft Copilot had to say. And speaking of Africa's giant EEZ exclusive economic zone, what is the full potential of its economy by the year 2050? It said by 2050, Africa's exclusive economic zones could become a cornerstone of the continent's economic transformation, unlocking trillions in marine resources, boosting intra-African trade, and driving global energy and food security. And this is rather lengthy, so I'm going to have to copy, cut, and paste this in my larger report. And we're going to go here, over here. Bear with me. Come on, computer, don't do that. And we're going to paste this in here, save it, and then I'm going to read from Perplexities, because you can tell just from the intro, Perplexity went much deeper. Africa's vast exclusive economic zone, EEZ, holds extraordinary future economic potential, and by 2050, it is positioned to become a major driver of sustainable wealth for the continent through the, quote, blue economy, a sector encompassing everything from fisheries and shipping to maritime biotechnology, ocean-based renewables, and blue carbon markets, economic projections, and opportunities. And I'm going to have to copy all of this. This is really good stuff. Copy it all, come over here, put it at the end, and paste it. Where we at? End. Where we at? Here we go. End. And paste this here. Why is it acting funny? And not ha-ha funny. I can't tell right now. Yeah, it's not coming in. Let me try this one more time. Copy. And it's just got a little piece of it. I don't know what this is, what's going on here. And it's not. I'll just read it from the original. And bear with me. It says, economic projections and opportunities. Point. By 2050, Africa's maritime and blue economy could exceed $1.5 trillion annually, according to major development forecasts. Point two, the World Trade Organization and African Development Bank project that if Africa harnesses marine resources efficiently, it could become the world's fourth largest economy by 2050. Point three, Africa's 13 plus million square kilometers, EEZ, is rich in fisheries, minerals, and energy resources, representing a significant opportunity for job creation, trade expansion, port development, aquaculture innovation, and blue carbon revenue via global carbon markets. Next, continental integration and strategic initiatives. The African Union's 2050 Africa Integrated Maritime Strategy, AIMS, aims to strengthen maritime security, enhance port infrastructure, improve intra-African trade, and ensure sustainable development and management across Africa's 38 coastal and island states. 38 could be consolidated into one. That's pretty awesome. This strategy is integrated with wider economic unions and frameworks like the African Continental Free Trade Area, CFTA, providing a pathway for massive growth in regional connectivity and value-added resource processing. Point: key success factors and challenges. Unlocking the EEZ's full value by 2050 depends on improved governance, stronger anti-piracy measures, environmental sustainability, investment in port and logistical infrastructure, and technology adoption such as blue biotech and carbon credit trading. Point: the growth will be strongest where regional coordination, investment climate, and security measures are most robust, with East African cities and major coastal economies set to outpace other areas. And I do agree. You've heard us here on LIV Radio. We have focused on East Africa, especially the East African community, for a number of years. Now, right now, it's kind of in turmoil. The behavior of the leaders of Tanzania and Kenya and Somalia is pretty unacceptable. And that's a fact. We're going to have to do what we can do to make sure their governance is better. Point two, the growth will be strongest with regional coordination, investment climate, and okay, I just read that. Broader impact. A thriving economic exclusive zone can deliver not just economic output, but improved food security, job prospects, climate resilience, and higher living standards for millions. By fostering sustainable ocean economies, Africa is set to significantly boost its share of global trade and move toward upper middle class income status in leading regions by 2050. That's estimated at 2050 upper middle income status. And remember, we said earlier, India's goal, or India would reach that status by 2047. So that sounds pretty reasonable and right on target. In sum, Africa's giant economic exclusive zone is integral to the continent's future economic transformation. And with the right reforms and investments, the maritime sector is expected to be a cornerstone of Africa's thriving future and emergence as a global economic powerhouse by mid-century. So we're going to do it. We see it. We see the potential of it all coming together. I'm going to look at this one right now and transforming Africa's blue, how do they put it? Blue economy. EEZs, blue ocean economy. Now let's see, for some odd reason, this is not copying. So bear with me. I'm going to have to get this. Bear with me. It's not only going to take a second, but I'm going to have to copy this because this is far, far too important for me to not be able to have access to it. Copy here and cancel that. Paste it. Got it. I don't know what happened with the previous one. And I'm going to go to the end here and paste it there too. Got you. So that's going to be an upcoming program. I'm going to go into transforming Africa's blue ocean economy, the EEZs. The EEZs. That's all very, very, very important. Today's been a good day on LB Radio. Let me just begin to wrap it up for today. Going to see if anybody else is talking to me for Africa One. Do the I Ain't No African Brigade think that non-African investors identify themselves with African culture? No, just the investment opportunities. That's a good point you make. They're not investing in Africa to build Africa for the African children. They're not interested in lowering infant and maternal mortality rates, not like you and I would be. They are not interested in promoting those things that are about sustainability, sovereignty, and sustainable development and sovereignty. They are really about profits. If they come from Singapore, they're about profits. If they come from South Korea, they're about profits. They come from Japan, India, China. They come from European Union. They come from America. They are all about profits. Now, that's kind of a blanket condemnation, but it pretty much does rule true. Our ideas are, as you say, for Africa One, and I completely agree, just the investment opportunities. They just want to make money. And that's why we have to do this independently and autonomously. I'm going to jump off the conversation right now because I'm expecting to be in contact with a couple of people on the continent, and hopefully I will be in contact with you today, my brother, who account manager. It was absolutely great having you in the conversation, just joining us. I hope you do stick with us to the best of your abilities. Grow along with us. Build along with us. Hit the like button. If you can, subscribe to my channel on Rumble is our primary channel, or you may want to subscribe to the channel on YouTube as well. And let's grow together. I do see a few people have hit that like button, and we're going to do even better. So on that note, I want to wrap it up for today. It's been a good day here on the LIB Radio. I didn't even have to use my AK today. I did put up a link to the Cash App, link is $KEIDIOBI, and check our books out, the books at http://keidi.biz/CRP 2012. And that's a good thing. We encourage you to do your piece to support us here on LIB Radio. LIB TV has been a great day. It's going to be an even better day. Now, I do show you my methodology as I'm putting all this together. I'm hoping that you will take advantage of this methodology and use it for doing your own investigative research. I'm not going to be doing this for too much longer, so I'm trying to show you all how to replace me. I'm trying to show you all how to replace me and insist in integrity. Get beyond all of the fake videos that have flooded YouTube. Absolutely flooded YouTube, and they're flooding the other markets as well. I don't use TikTok because TikTok to me is just not being utilized for its full potential. And I'm growing increasingly unsatisfied with fake book. So maybe where I'm gearing up to is we'll have to do our own, launch our own, or go to ask our Nigerians, brothers and sisters in technology, to create something for us, with us, by us. On tomorrow's Thursday, we are continuing our ongoing 28 lessons on mastering AI. We have put 4 sessions, I think it was 3 or 4 sessions we put into AI filmmaking, and I think that's enough of that for right now. So we're going to go back into using AI to develop conversations such as the conversation we had today. The conversation we had today, we need to find a way using the AI technology, and probably I'll use Perplexity. We're going to go back to Perplexity tomorrow because I think Perplexity holds the best potential for us to have our own, do our own thing, be able to build for the future, a sustainable future where you and I will prosper and where our children can and will prosper. And everything we need to do, we will be able to do it. And that's why you tune into your LIB radio family. Thank you all for all you do for all of us. We are so very grateful. Tell your friends to tell their friends that we have our own now, and we could and should be very proud of who we are, what we do, what we have, what we know, and how eventually we will build a new reality for Africans across the diaspora, for all African people all around the world. It's been a good day, and let's keep it going. I hope to hear from you today. You have my text number. Use it. Let's plan to build together. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you.